Can you start an art business without selling your soul, going viral, or pretending that you actually like the opening show at the gallery? Of course you can. I do it every single day, powered by caffeine, bitterness, and a deep hatred for the normie traditional way of life. Now, I do it so effectively that Imagine FX Magazine, the best art magazine in the world, asked me about it, and as I'm reading their questions in the email for the article that is coming, I thought, you know what, I might as well record the answers and share it with you all. We have marketing your art businesses, selling, pricing your art, everything. Let's go. So, first question: how did you learn how to market yourself and develop your business? Did you use any special resources? How did you learn that? Special sources. Well, I am the special source. I am the only special source I need to learn how to develop business. And that is not just true for me, it is true for every single person that is listening, every single person that is going to read the article that you write, Tanya. Every single person is the special resource in order to learn anything. You already know everything. There's nothing to learn. You don't need a degree. You don't need the books. You already know 70% of what you need to know to achieve anything. And the other 30% you will learn as you go along. And so, how did you learn to market yourself and develop your business? By marketing myself and developing my business, not getting a stupid degree from the universities who can't teach us anything. These are loser professors that have been teaching things for the last 30 years without any experience in the marketplace. These losers can't do anything. We've been putting them on a pedestal and they don't belong there. What you should be doing, what anybody should be doing, if they want to be marketing themselves and developing their business, is to step in the marketplace, then try out whatever they think is necessary. And as they are doing that, they will be making mistakes. And as they are making mistakes, they are discovering the hurdles that they need to overcome. And then when they discover those hurdles, they can go online, on the internet, or use GPT, or use any AI and type in, hey, I have this problem. How do I overcome this problem? As they are doing that, they will most likely stumble upon my videos anyway. And then that video or somebody else's video will give them the answer. And as they are doing that, they understand the most important thing, which is doing. Doing is more important than thinking. Doing is more important than learning. Doing is more important than degrees. Doing is more important than having money. Doing is more important than being smart. You just have to do it. Second question: what is your advice for artists looking to build their brand and sell more of their work? What are the most important things for them to think about? Everything that I just said. Literally everything that I just said. The most important thing to build a brand is to start building a brand, is to go on social media. Most artists don't have money. Most people don't have money. Most business owners don't have money. And if you don't have money, you only have one option left, and that is to go on social media. The easiest platforms at this moment are obviously short form content, short form TikTok, short form YouTube, short form Instagram. I'm not a big fan of Instagram because the people at Instagram were so friendly to cancel me because I was such a truth teller. So I'm not a big fan of them. But I'm sure that you can build massive brands on Instagram. And so that is what you do. Why short form? Because short form is easier to make and you can potentially make it once and then post it on the 3 platforms. You cannot make a long form YouTube video and then just simply post it on TikTok because your long form 20-minute video doesn't fit on the platform of TikTok. And so short form has that massive advantage where it allows you to create one piece of content that you can then share on multiple platforms. And it's also easier to make. And that is what I would recommend. Now, if you have a little bit of money, you can very easily outsource that. If you don't have anything, because a lot of artists, surprisingly, are 55 years old, 64 years old, and they don't actually want to learn a whole new skill. They don't want to learn a whole new editing thing in their lives. And so these people would benefit greatly from outsourcing to cheap countries. There's a lot of cheap labor out there. And the thing about these cheap countries 15 years ago was that 15 years ago, the quality of their labor was very low because they didn't have the universities teaching them how to edit, teaching them how to do script writing. But with the coming of social media, YouTube, their educational level, simply by watching YouTube videos, is at the same level as these graduates from these famous schools. And so now they have massive amounts of skill for a very low price. And so this is the opportunity that you have right now. And then don't be a piece of shit about it and actually pay those people a real amount. And so that is what I would recommend. Now, for artists specifically, artists looking to build their brand and sell more of their work, what I've been recently looking at is live shopping, live auctioning. Why have I been looking at that? Because if you look at the best-selling places for artists in the world as we speak, it is Sotheby's and Christie's. They are the big shots. They are selling massive amounts of artworks. And how are they doing that? With auctions. And how are they doing that? Well, oftentimes with live auctions. And so this is a proven thing in the art world. That's number one. Then the second observation is that in China and these Asian countries that are very advanced, they have flying cars. We don't have flying cars. They have flying cars. In those countries, live shopping already happens. In those countries, you can go to the supermarket or some place, and then there's a guy that doesn't own the products in that supermarket, and he takes his phone and he's live selling those products. So in the supermarket or in the shop, it costs, let's say, $15 for a particular thing. Then they're live selling it. They're selling it for $20 or $25, and they take that margin and they ship it to the person. Win for the shop because they have more sales. Win for the salesperson because they now have another way to sell products that from an inventory that was not their inventory, so they don't need the inventory. And then win for the customer because they have an easier time buying with less friction. And so it's a win for everyone. I think that's probably a pretty big opportunity, considering that we have that proof of work from the art world, and then also proof of work from other countries that appear to be better than us at this moment. Then yeah, I would definitely take a look at that and dabble into live shopping, try it out, and see if it works for you. And that's generally speaking how we want to play the game. When something new happens, being very early is a massive advantage. Being early on social media was a massive advantage. Being early on TikTok was a massive advantage. Being early with the internet was a massive advantage. Being early with live shopping is going to be a massive advantage for artists, specifically for selling their work, for sure. There's this inherent scarcity element. I mean, yeah, this is probably going to work. Third question. What mistakes do you see people making with their art businesses? The biggest mistake is that they look at what worked. They are now 55 years old, and they've been dreaming about making it as an artist, as building that art career, building that side hustle. Perhaps they missed out on the opportunity to invest in stocks that grew massively over the last 30 years. And now they understand that the pension plan is not going to help them out, and they want to build that side hustle out. And they remember going to the gallery openings and seeing the shows and the art that got sold for $15,000 a piece, and they want exactly that. And they look at that place back in time and think that they should learn from that they should emulate that. What they don't realize is that that time is no more. That time is gone. Galleries are not what they used to be. We've put galleries on a pedestal, but they don't belong there. The gallery opening show has 30 people showing up. It's nothing. They don't reach anyone. They don't build brands. It's simply not powerful. And everybody is waking up to the fact that social media is a better show. Social media is better than a solo show. Social media is better than a group show. Social media is better than winning a silly award. I've won many awards. And social media simply happens to be better. And so this is what people have to wake up to. The old strategy is no more. And the old strategy is being replaced at this moment by the new strategy. 8 years ago, businesses, galleries were laughing with Instagram artists. 4 years ago, they were like, wow, Instagram is really cool. Now they require people to have an Instagram following before they start working with them. Or they need to be an established artist, a blue chip artist, or close to be a blue chip artist. And so the landscape changes quickly. What these galleries need to realize is that if they rely on artists building brands that they can then use, because those artists still value solo shows, and they will gladly today, those artists will gladly give you access to their social media pages for free if you give them a solo show. Tomorrow, these artists will realize that your solo show is meaningless anyway. And so these galleries need to realize right now that they have to also build their social medias out. And they have beautiful opportunities to do so. But they have to build it out right now. Starting 10 years from now is going to be a mistake. And so that is the biggest mistake. People put solo shows on a pedestal and they still devalue and undervalue TikToks. And the reality is that TikToks are way better. You can literally reach 3,000 times more people on a TikTok short right now than you can with an entire solo show. An entire solo show will cost you a month to make. A TikTok can be made in 2 minutes. I have TikToks that I spent 2 minutes on that got over 2 million views. That happens. That's possible right now. And that TikTok did more branding than a solo show can. And so that is the mistake that people are making. Fourth question. What is your advice for pricing art? How can artists earn more for their work? Beginners should almost always, in almost all circumstances, charge way more. Like way more. Selling your art for $800 is a joke. Stop doing that. It's ridiculous. You have to charge way more. Multitudes more, to the factor of a rational number. And the reason being that in the beginning, you don't have scale, you don't have marketing power, you don't have people, you don't have a brand. And so selling at low price points is not going to make you a living. But what you do have in the beginning is time. What you do have is effort that you can put in. You can spend way more time than the other artists who have brands. If you are buying an artwork from Damien Hirst and it's like a little dot painting, a little dot thing, like a small one, you're not going to talk with him. He's not going to be interacting with you. He doesn't have time for you, even though you're spending 50K on that small little thing. And so these artists don't have time anymore. You have time. Use that time to make your thing way more valuable. Now, as you are increasing the price, you have to understand that you have to play around with the value. There are two elements. There's price of the artwork and then there's value. The price, you increase the price. Now you have to make sure that the value in the eyes of the customer is way more than the price of the artwork. I teach this in my program with value enhancers. It's a whole 1 hour section on just value enhancers. And so I can't compress it to 2 minutes, but this is what you have to do. The reason people are paying $1 million for a particular artwork is because they believe it's worth $2.4 million. Not because they believe it's worth $1 million, but because they believe it's worth more. And so the value in their eyes is way more than the $1 million. And you have to play around with the value. Let's take, for example, let's combine both of these things that I just said. Let's take, for example, that one of the students in my program, she has experience as an interior designer. I don't know how long, 20, 30 years, something like that. And so now she's stopped doing that and she is going for becoming a visual artist in the last portion of her life. And so how could she potentially increase the price massively, increasing the value more than the price, so that she can sell less artworks but for way more dollars and then actually make a living from that. Well, she could very simply add this interior design element. She could, for example, sell art, and with the art comes free interior design advice for people who want it. So it's not just the artwork, it's not just in a color combination with the room, but there's also this element of free interior design that comes with the artwork from a professional that has been doing this for decades. And now you have an artwork that is completely integrated in the room and completely integrated in what the room could become, and completely, it's a total package. Interior designers cannot offer this package because they don't make art. Artists cannot offer this package because they are not interior designers. So now you're positioning yourself in the marketplace as something unique that is rare, that increases the value, the perceived value of the same artwork. So this is what you want to be doing. You want to increase the value without necessarily changing the artwork. Way too many artists are focused on the aesthetics of the artwork when they should be focused on the aesthetics of the offer. Fifth question. With social media platforms becoming saturated and less helpful for artists looking to sell their work or get commissions, what other strategies can artists turn to? No other strategies. No other strategies. Social media is still way less saturated than the art world used to be. And there's a way more opportunity because you can branch out into things that are not necessarily art related. And so social media is still the way to go. Social media is the way to go. If you want to do something else that has no saturation levels, what I just explained, the live shopping apps, I think Whatnot is a very good example of those live shopping apps. There are a lot of those types of live shopping apps that are now popping up in the West that already took off in China and those types of countries a long time ago. So that would be an alternative. But that's it. Social media is still the way to go. And artists being afraid of saturation levels is a joke. If you're afraid of saturation levels, you shouldn't become an artist in the first place. Art will be saturated whether you like it or not. Now, I want people to understand that today we live in a place where you can make a TikTok for free. It will not cost you anything. It will not cost you anything. TikTok is not charging you money to make a TikTok. YouTube is not charging you money to make a short. And it's a very interesting time where subscribers don't actually matter anymore. You can, today. This was not possible 7 years ago. You can today, as a complete beginner who has, for example, some experience with editing, some experience with script writing, a good personality, great artworks, great, but you have no experience with social media specifically. You can today, with 0 subscribers, have a particular short on YouTube that gets more views than the short of somebody with 2 million subscribers. That's possible. This was not possible 7 years ago because subscribers mattered a lot. Now we are post-subscriber world. Post-subscriber world. If anything, there is way less saturation in a post-subscriber world. Less saturation for those who are good. Less saturation for those who are talented. Less saturation for those who have the ability to communicate properly. And so this is a very unique moment in time where you can get massive amount of upsides for free without having any subscribers. This is insane. 20 years from now, we will look back at this as the Wild West, as the one time with opportunity, the one time that slaves, peasants, normies, automatons, peons, completely unimportant people had a chance to build themselves up without spending a single dollar. You can go back for hundreds and hundreds of years. This was not possible. It's a very strange moment in time where this is possible, and the moment will not last long. We've already had it for 10 years. We will have it for another 10, and that's it. 15 years from now, People will pay to send their short out to the people. It will cost money to send your short, most likely. Or you will reach nobody anymore. And so this is a very unique moment in time. What you should do as an artist or a gallerist or an auction house person, you have to understand that it's not saturated yet. With social media platforms becoming more saturated and less helpful, it's not saturated yet. It's not saturated. This is a very unique moment in time. Grab it.